Shalom, welcome back. Esoteric Duvidism, Ethics of the Fathers, Chapter 5. This is a great chapter. Chapter 4 is extremely good. A lot of powerful wisdom. Chapter 5 also, we have a lot of these like 4 classes of people type statements. There's a lot to learn, so let's jump right in. We'll start with singing our theme song, We Are All Righteous. V'yamei kilam sadikim, v'yamei kilam sadikim, ayayam, v'yamei kilam sadikim, v'yamei kilam sadikim, v'yamei kilam sadikim. V'yamei kilam sadikim, ayayam, v'yamei kilam sadikim, v'yamei kilam sadikim. Mishnah 1. Biasor maimros nivra oilam amatam loimer haloi b'maimer echad yikolis boros Elia pora mina roshoyim sha'abed es oilam shenivra biasor maimros litin skar toiv lissadikim shkaim es oilam shenivra biasor mamoiros. With 10 utterances the world was created. What does this come to teach? Indeed, could it have not been created with one utterance? This was to exact punishment for the wicked who destroy the world that was created with 10 utterances, and to bestow godly reward upon the righteous who sustain the world that was created with 10 utterances. Obviously, God could have created the world with just one utterance, but chose to use 10, and we have the concept of erikapayim, that God is slow to anger, and that the sinful have long time to repent, and whatever great lessons there are to be learned from this. There's different versions of what these 10 utterances are. Let there be light, let there be firmament, the beginning of Genesis, all the let there statements. There's a lot to this, but we'll move on. All these things could be delved into deeper. Most of Avos ethics is pithy statements to improve our moral character, and some of them are more spiritual, esoteric. But the majority of them are ethical in character, and that's the ones we're going to focus on. Asora doros miadam biad noach leodia kama erikapayim lepanov shakal doros hoya makisim muvoin ad shevileim es mai hamabel. There were 10 generations from Adam till Noah to show the degree of his patience, for all of the generations angered him increasingly until he brought upon them the waters of the flood. So even though mankind had became very sinful, it wasn't until the 10th generation that God eventually destroyed the world with the flood, because of this character of God being slow to anger. Mishnah 3, Asoros Doros Minoyak Mead Avram Leodia Kama Erikapayim Lefanov Shakal Doros Hoya Makisim Voya Ad Shava Avram Avinu Kibus Kar Kulam. There were 10 generations from Noah to Abraham to show the degree of his patience, for all of these generations angered him increasingly until our father Abraham came and received the reward of all of them. So from the creation of the world, there were 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and then another 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. And Abraham is in many respects the first righteous person to walk the earth, and he, so to say, takes the reward of 10 generations of wicked people that could have came on to do the right thing. They could have became God's special chosen people. They could have fulfilled God's promise to humanity on earth, but it took 10 generations till a man would walk righteously before God, such as Abraham. Mishnah 4, Asor Nisoyes Nisana Avraham Avinu V'yamed Bekulam Leodia Kama Kavirsoy Shel Avram Avinu. Our forefather Abraham was tested with 10 trials, and he withstood all of them to show the degree of our forefather Abraham's love of God. And this is very famous. Anyone who studies Genesis, Abraham's 10 tests, culminating with sacrificing his own son Isaac. And because of Abraham's great endurance and love of God, he was able to withstand all of those tests. Mishnah 5. these lists of like 10 different things are less ethical. There's a little ethics and understanding, but we're going to get in a few down some of the really powerful life lessons that penetrate the depths of humanity and what we're here for. Mishnah 5, Asor Nisas Nasu Lavasena b'Mitzrayim v'Asar al Hayam, Eser Makos Avia Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ala Mitzrayim b'Mitzrayim v'Asar al Hayam. 10 miracles were performed for our ancestors in Egypt, and the 10 at the sea. 10 plagues did the Holy One, blesses he, bring upon the Egyptians in Egypt, and 10 at the sea. So obviously the foundation of our people, the escape of slavery from Egypt. And so here we're recounting these in the list of 10. Mishnah 6, Asor Nisoyos Nasu Avasenu Eser Kodesh Baruch Hu, Huma Midmar Shnemar V'Nasu Oiso Zeh Eser Pamim Beloy Shama B'Koilei. With 10 trials, their ancestors test the Holy One, blessed be he. In the wilderness, as it is said, they've tested me in these 10 times and did not heed my voice. So when Israel was in the desert in Egypt, and there were 10 different occurrences where we disobeyed and chose to test God's patience instead of trusting. In Mishnah 7, Asor Nisam Nasu Lavasenu B'Beis HaMikdash, Lo Yipila Isha Mireik Basar HaKodesh, Lo Hisriach Basar HaKodesh, Miyolam No Nira Zuv B'Beis HaMitbachim, V'Lo Ira Kri L'Koyin Gadol B'Yom Kippurim, Lo Yikibo Shamim Eshel Atze Hamarachav, V'Lo Nitzcha Haruach Es Amid HaOshen, V'Lo Nimsap Sil B'Omer B'Shtei Halechem B'Lechem Hapanim Oimdim Sapufim, Umishtakavim, Ravachim V'Lo Hizik Nachash V'Akrav B'Yerushalayim Oine V'Lo Omer Adam L'Chaveru Tsarli HaMakoim She'olim B'Yerushalayim. So in this one we actually get the list of 10. And the first 6, I guess, because they're all commonly referred to in the Bible, this one is talking about the temple, so we're actually going to get the list. 10 miracles were performed for our ancestors in the Holy Temple. Number 1, no woman miscarried because of the aroma of the sacrificial meat. 2, the sacrificial meat never became putrid. 3, no fly was seen in the place where the sanctified meat was butchered. 4, no seminal emission occurred to the high priest on Yom Kippur. 5, the rains did not extinguish the fire of the altar pyre. 6, the wind did not disperse the vertical column of smoke from the altar. 7, no disqualification was found on the omer, and 2 loaves and snow bread. 8, the people stood crowded together, yet there was ample space when they prostrated themselves. 9, neither serpent nor scorpion ever caused injury in Jerusalem. And 10, nor did any man say to his fellow, the space is insufficient for me to spend the night in Jerusalem. So these are all interesting, but I'm gonna just go through this quickly because I want to get to the ethical part. So just saying what miracles happened in the temple and like the meat not becoming decayed or different things. The last one is interesting that the Jews made pilgrimage twice a year to Jerusalem for the festivals, to bring sacrifices and gather together in Jerusalem. Is they never did it occur that there wasn't enough room, even though millions of people wanted to come to the temple and make the pilgrimage, and certainly it was overcrowded and uncomfortable, but there was always room for everybody. Mishnah 8, Asor Devorim Nivru Be'erev Shabbos Bein HaMishmois Ve'elohim Priya Oretz Priya Ber Priya Osin Hakeshis V'Yaman V'Yamata V'Yashaviv V'Kasav V'Miktav V'Aluchos V'Yesh Oimrim Afa Mazikim Ikruvo Shel Moshe V'ilu Shel Avram Avinu V'Yesh Oimrim Aptzav B'Tzav Asura. 10 things were created on the Sabbath eve at twilight. They were the mouth of the earth, the mouth of the well, the mouth of Bilam's donkey, the rainbow, the manna, the staff, the shamer worm, the script, the inscription, and the tablets. Some say that the destructive spirits, Moses' grave, and the ram of our forefather Abraham, and some also say tongues, which are made with tongues. So actually a lot of these are profound esoteric. There's a lot of teachings, saying that when God created the world, certain elements were preordained and made in the world thousands of years before they came into use, like the staff that Moses used, certain of the vessels in the second temple. But I want to get to the ethical teachings, and these things are worthy of more study. Mishnah 9, Shiva Devorim Begoilim, Beshiva Bechacham, Chacham Enu Medaber Lifnei Mi Shagadol, Mimenu Bechachma, Ubaminyan, Venu Niknas, L'Soik Divrei Chaveru, Venu Niva Lahashiv, Shol Be'inyan, Lameshiv Ke'alacha, V'yomer Al Rishon, V'al Akroin, V'al Ma Shaloi Shama Omer, Loi Shamati, Umaida Al Emes, V'chiloi Fehem Begoilim. So Mishnah 9 starts the ethical teachings. 7 traits characterize an uncultivated person, and 7 a learned one. A learned person does not begin speaking before one who is greater than he in wisdom or in years. He does not interrupt the words of his fellow. He does not answer impetuously. He asks relevant questions and replies appropriately. He discusses first things first and last things last. Also, something he has not heard, he says, I have not heard, and acknowledges the truth. And the reverse of those traits characterize the uncultivated person. So, who is wise, who has good character, and certain basic good character traits: respecting our elders, respecting the wise, methods of conversing, letting the person who knows more explain it, not interrupting, answering in a respectful manner, asking relevant questions, giving appropriate replies, so to say, discussing the first thing first and the last thing last to know what's more important and needs to be talked about first, and to not say more than we know. If we don't know it, just say, I don't know it. Mishnah 10, Shiva Mina Prunois Ba'in La'oilam Bi'ad Shiva Gufe Avera Bixosam Me'ashrim Mixosam Enu Masrim Ravom B'tzoros Ba Mixosan Ra'im Mixosan Shavim Gomru Shaloi La'aser Ra Shel Mahuma Vishel B'tzoros Ba B'shaloi Lito Es Hakala Rav Shel Kalaya Ba. 7 types of punishment come to this world for 7 kinds of transgressions. If some people tithe and others do not, the famine caused by lack of rain ensures. Some go hungry and some are satisfied. If all decided not to tithe, famine causes by armed bandit and drought ensures. If they also decide not to separate challah, famine caused by fatal drought ensures. So here we're talking about your karma, action, reaction. It's actually saying taxes. When you don't pay your tithes and taxes, different types of drought and calamity will come upon, and so interesting. And Mishnah 11 finishes the Dever ba the oilam al misoy samurai spatora shloi nistor the bezdin ve'al pero shabi shivis kera ba the oilam ad ini adin al even adin ve'al hamoira batora shloi kalaka chayv ra ba'al oilam atruvu shav al klil shem Gals vel oilam al shoivre vaidazora val gilar rayas al shapuchais damim al shemitas orats. Pestilence come to the world for the death penalties prescribed to the Torah that were not carried out by the court, for illegitimate use of fruits of the 7th sabbatical year. The sword of war comes to the world for delay of justice, for the perversion of justice, and rendering decisions contrary to the law. Wild beasts come upon the world for vain oaths and the desecration of God's name. Exile comes to the world for idolatry, for immorality, for bloodshed, and for working the earth during the sabbatical year. So interesting karmatic action-reaction statements. Mishnah 12. It's the second half of this chapter that's extremely interesting. Mishnah 12. Bi'arba parachim adever misrabe bravius b'shvius b'moitza shvius b'moitza chag shbekal shana b'shana bravius mipnei ma'aser ani shvilishis b'shvius mipnei ma'aser ani b'shvishis Matzah Shabis Mipnei Perish Shabis Matzah Hahag Shabakal Shana Bashana Mipnei Gezel Misnoi Sanim. At 4 periods of the same 7 of the 7th sabbatical cycle, pestilence increases in the 4th year and the 7th year and the year following the sabbatical year, and annually at the conclusion of the Sukkah festival in the 4th year of the Shemitah cycle for neglecting the tithe of the poor in the 3rd, and the 7th year for neglecting the tithe of the poor in the 6th, immediately following the sabbatical year for violating the laws of the sabbatical produce, annually and at the conclusion of the festival of Sukkot for robbing the poor of their gifts. So the first 12 Mishnahs conclude those homiletical karmatic teachings with the list of 10, and then these different karmatic principles of what brings disaster to the world. And, put your mind in the sages 2,000 years ago, and a lot of these are related to like farming and famine and not keeping the tithe and farming laws. And so these are interesting, they're important, they're worthy of more study. However, this is what I wanted to get to now. The list of 4. Some of these are the most powerful teachings in all of Torah. I've been, really moved in my life by this wisdom. A lot of these things, as I said, have deeply influenced how I've lived my life. Some of them are counterintuitive. Some of them you have to think a little bit first, but some of these are like, wow, I'm glad I know this wisdom. So let's get to it. Mishnah 13, Arba midos ba'adam ha'omer shali shali v'shalcha shalach v'zeh mudos beinunus v'yesh omer zeh midos Sodom shali shalach v'shalach shali ama oretz shali shalach v'shalcha shalach chassid shalach shali v'shali Russia. And this one is possibly the best of all of them, one of the most quoted ones. There are 4 character traits among people. One who says, my property is mine and yours is yours, is an average person. But some say this is the character of Sodom. Those who say mine is yours and yours is mine is an unlearned person. C, those who say mine is yours and yours is scrupulously pious. And that who says that yours is mine and mine is wicked. So it's kind of basic. These are like 2x2 logical tautologies where you have 2 different classes. So one, you're saying, okay, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is yours. What's mine is mine, and what yours is mine. What's mine is yours, and what yours is yours, and what's mine is yours, and what yours is mine. And then it's dividing the character that these, what type of character these different ones in. The interesting thing, okay, the person says, the rugged individualist who said what's mine is mine and yours is the average person, although there is a statement that said that's like the meat of Sodom, and obviously Sodom had to be destroyed by God personally, and to some extent might represent unprecedented evil. So there's different explanations why that's so bad. Some say it goes against godliness, the brotherhood of man, to just separate yourself and just, I'm going to work and keep for myself. You work and keep for yourself. But say in general, that's the average person. The person who says what's mine is yours and what yours is mine is just a fool. Some could argue that's like communism or socialism or like high taxes. Just will throw everything in a bundle and share, and saying that doesn't work out. That person's just a fool. And obviously the wicked person who just thinks everything is theirs. The scrupulously pious gives of themselves and doesn't expect others to give to them. And yes, I will use my abundance and my resources to help others. It's my pleasure to help you, and I don't expect anything in return. If you choose to be greedy and use your resources only for yourself and not extend to me from that, that is fine. Just because I extended to you from my resources does not mean I expect you to extend to me from your resources. And that's the righteous person who's completely given over of himself. Very powerful. That one's extremely commonly commented on and quoted and discussed. Mishnah 14, Abus midos bedeos, noik lekois v'noik l'rtzois, yotze schar b'pseidu, kash lekois v'kash l'rtzois, yotze b'pseidu b'skaro, kash lekois v'noik l'rtzois chassid, noik lekois v'kash l'rtzois Russia. There are 4 types of temperament. One who is angered easily and pacified easily, his gain is offset by his loss. One who is hard to anger and hard to pacify, his loss is offset by his gain. One who is hard to anger and pacified easily is pious. One who is angered easily and hard to pacify is wicked. So it's the same all these are going to be, these 4 type characters are going to be 2x2 tautologies. So we're just talking about how easily are you angered and how easily does that anger go away and are you pacified. So if you're angered easily and pacified easily, the gain of being pacified easily is offset by the fact that the person's very easy to make anger. So it's okay, you make the guy angry and it's bad, but at least he doesn't dwell in the anger and the anger goes away quickly, as opposed to the person who's hard to anger and hard to pacify. Okay, it's hard for him to get angry, but if you get him angry, it's going to be really hard for his anger to go away. He's going to hold a grudge a long period of time. So also his loss is offset by his gain. One who is hard to be angered and pacified easily is pious. That's the best way. It's extremely difficult to make me angry. And it's if I do get angry, it's very easy for me to pacify it. So you'd have to do something really bad to get me angry. If you did something really bad to get me angry, I will forgive quickly. So that's the best character. And obviously someone who's easily angry and hard to pacify, that's basically wicked. You know, like a small thing. I can't believe you did that. I'll never forgive you. That's a wicked person. You don't want to be stuck in that character. So Mishnah 15 will continue with these 4 types. Arba midos b'talmidim. Interesting, the background, the anger is that anger is a natural trait. Everyone gets angry. It doesn't say there's 4 types of people. One of those who never gets angry. So the righteous person is the person who is very difficult to make angry. And if they do get angry, is pacified easily. But there's no such man as a man who never gets angry. Mishnah 15. Arba midos b'talmidehem mahir l'shmoya mahir l'aved yatsi skar b'hafsedo kasha l'shmoya v'kasha l'aved yatsi hafsedo v'skaro mahir l'shmoya v'kasha l'aved zecheh l'toiv kasha l'shmoya v'mahir l'aved zecheh l'ra. There are 4 types of student. One who grasps quickly and forgets quickly, his gain is offset by his loss. One who grasps slowly and forgets slowly, his loss is offset by his gain. One who grasps quickly and forgets slowly, this is a good portion. And one who grasps slowly and forgets quickly, this is a bad portion. Same 2x2 tautology of how quickly can you learn something, and once you learn it, how quickly do you forget it? So if you learn things quickly and forget it quickly, it's good that you learn it quickly, but your gain is offset by the loss that you forget it quickly. And if one who grasps it slowly but forgets it slowly, his loss is offset by his gain. Okay, it works very hard to understand it, but once he understands it, at least he's going to stick with it. It's going to stick with him. The best quality, obviously, is to grasp things quickly and forget slowly. You know, everybody would want such an intellect. And, you know, one who is slow to understand and quick to forget, that's a bad lot. And we actually discussed in Duties of the Heart that there was a certain element to, it's a benefit to being able to forget things. You know, it could be forgetting our sin, forgetting our anger, forgetting bad moments. There's a certain benefit why God created forgetfulness. But general, when we're talking about learning, you want to be able to understand things and you don't want to forget what you learn. So the best quality is to be able to grasp quickly and forget slowly. Mishnah 16. Arba midos b'noisnei tzedakah writes the shiatem v'loy yitno acherim enu ra b'shel acherim yitno acherim v'hu loy yitain enu ra l'shloi yitain yitnu acherim chassid v'loy yitain v'loy yitno acherim rasha. There are 4 types of donors to charity. One who wishes to give himself but does not want others to give. He begrudges others. That others should give, but that he should not give, he begrudges himself. That he should give and the others should give is saintly. That he should not give and the others should not give is wicked. So this tautology has whether you give and whether you want others to give. So if you give and you want others to give, that's the best case scenario. You know, even if a person's wealthy and powerful, it's not a one-man show. It wants everyone to be righteous and everyone to partake in it. That's the best quality. To not give is bad. So if you don't want to give and you don't want others to give, that's really bad. So if you just don't want to give, but you hope that others step in and do the service, that's limited. And also the person who gives and doesn't want others, they want all the glory and credit for themselves. Those are like half measures, and you hear they use the expression begrudges. That character was begrudging of others. So the best character in terms of giving is that we should want to give, and others should also give. Everyone collectively pitches in for good causes. Mishnah 17. Arba midos b'hoicha b'beis hamidrush, hoilik v'einu oise, skar halik b'yada, oise v'einu hoilik, skar maseh b'yado, hoilik v'oise chassid v'loi hoilik v'loi asa rasha. There are 4 types of those who come to the house of study. Those who go but do not study has at least reward for going. One who studies at home but does not attend the house of study has the reward for studying and that accomplishment. One who goes and studies is pious. One who does not go and does not study is wicked. And it's interesting that say there are 4 people who have a portion, and even the person who doesn't go and doesn't study still has a portion in scholarship, because generally scholarship is universal and applies to even the people who don't value it. And you would say the best character is you should go together into the house of study and study with others. So here you also have the two types: one who goes to the house of study and doesn't utilize that time to study, and then you have someone who doesn't go to the house of study but actually stays by himself and studies, which there is some benefit to. You could be a scholar, maybe like myself, who is largely a loner, spends most of my time alone, but I spend most of that time studying. But it would be preferable to study in the accompaniment of others in the house of study. We had earlier that maybe the Shekhinah, God dwells with people more when they gather together. And part of the reason why I'm making these YouTube videos is, like the virtual base medrash, create some sort of collective consciousness and hopefully develop a discussion on these important topics. Mishnah 18. Arba midos b'yoshvim lifnei chachamim, svoig u'mashvik u'mashmeres b'nafik svug, shu soifik esakol u'mashvik shamak nis b'zoi b'moitze b'no mashmeretz u'motzia es hayayin shekletes es hamashmeres b'nafis u'motzia es hakemek b'kolektes es hasolis. There are 4 types among those who sit before the sages: a sponge, a funnel, a strainer, and a sieve. A sponge that absorbs everything, a funnel which lets in from one end and lets out the other, a strainer which lets the wine flow through and retains the sediment, and a sieve which allows the flour dust to pass through and retains the fine flour. So saying, okay, we all want to acquire wisdom. We know we need wisdom to strive, and it's hard to know everything, and there's different approaches to doing it. Generally, some better than others. All have certain benefits. The sponge, I'm going to try to absorb everything. That might include, okay, like what color clothes was the person wearing, what they served for dinner, all the, who was there, and just everything besides what the person said. You're just saying everything is worthy of trying to remember. And then you could have a funnel, which, God forbid it just in one ear, out the other. Little benefit to that. There might be some benefit that it was at least temporarily internalized, but generally you don't want to be a funnel. You want to internalize it. But then, it's like the sponge. You're going to internalize everything, or you're going to let everything pass through. So then you have the 2 cases where some stuff is retained and other stuff is passed through. So you have the strainer, which lets the fine wine through and retains the sediment. And really, you don't want the sediment. You want the fine wine. So, here probably the strainer is a bad type of thing. You don't want to, just get the crud, the gossip, the nonsense. You went to the lecture and all you remember is like some small beef or dispute that happened or irrelevant data that isn't going to benefit you, as opposed to So here the sieve appears to be the best. It allows the dust flour to pass through and retains the fine flour, where you're ciphering through what's important, what's not important, and let me retain the stuff that is important and let pass the stuff that's not important. So that concludes the different of the fours. Still more good wisdom, but those four classes and the tautologies are very interesting. And most Jews, people who've studied this stuff, have thought about that their whole life, and because that comes up constantly. And a lot of them are very idealistic. To be slow to anger and quick to appease, to consider what's mine as public and what is other people as their own. To go to the house of study and to study. These are ideals to try to live by. And you could say, okay, what class am I falling into? What's an idealized state? And so it's very good. You'll learn this wisdom, live by it, hope this improves your life. And all these things of deep wisdom. And you could come up with many different theories and explanations for these classes and people falling into the classes and how to move from one class to the other, and so on. Mishnah 19, Kol Ava Shehu Tulue Bedover, Bato Bedover, Batela Ava, She'enu Tuli Bedover, Enu Batela La'oilem Ezehi Ava, Shehi Tulu Bedover, Ze Avas Amnan Betomer, Keshe'enu Tuli Bedover, Ze Avas David V'yonasan. Any love that depends on a specific cause, when that cause is gone, the love is gone. But if it does not depend on a specific cause, it will never cease. What sort of love depended on a specific cause? The love of Ammon for Tamar. And what did not depend upon a specific cause? The love of David and Jonas. And this one's very powerful. It's obvious. It's true. Should be self-evident to anyone. If you love a person for a temporal character, what they have, and that when that goes away, the love will also go away. So if you love someone who's beautiful and they lose their beauty, and then the love goes away because you only love their beauty. If you love somebody that have a bunch of money and they lose their wealth, or you love someone because they're popular and then they become unpopular, and all these different things, that the love wasn't really there in the first place, because you love the thing that was attributed, that was there at that time, and when that goes away, then the love also goes away. And then it gives examples from the Bible, the love of Ammon and Tamar, who were sons of King David, and it was lust, and then she got ill, and her beauty went away, and the love went away, and then the love of David and Jonathan, who Jonathan was the crown prince of Saul, and he recognized David's talent, and they were truly friends. They enjoyed each other's company. They enjoyed going through the world together. It wasn't dependent upon any artificial attribute that one of them temporarily had. They had a true enjoyment in their friendship, and hence, through good and bad, their friendship stayed. Very important lesson, self-evident, basically. People give the example like, oh, do you love ice cream? But what do you do to ice cream? Really, you love yourself. You just love the feeling that it gives you. When you love others, usually you give to that. You don't mind self-sacrifice. And this topic's very deep, and you could go on and on for the deepness of this, but it's an extremely important thing to internalize. What is love? And love that is dependent on something else is a weaker form of love, and possibly not love at all, or just a form of self-love. Mishnah 20. Kol machlokes shi l'shem shamayim sofer l'kayim, v'she'enu l'shem shamayim enu sofer l'kayim, ezu machlokes shi l'shem shamayim, zu machlokes hillel v'shamai, v'she'enu l'shem shamayim, zu machlokes korach v'kol edoso. Any dispute that is for the sake of heaven will have a constructive outcome, but one is not for the sake of heaven will have a destructive outcome. What sort of dispute was for the sake of heaven? The dispute between Hillel and Shammai. And what was not for the sake of heaven? The dispute of Korach and his entire company. So that there's pilpul, there's arguing, there's trying to get to the truth, and that's good. That's how we get to the truth. That's how we decipher and discriminate between good and bad, is by hashing out these topics, by strongly debating them. But there's a difference when you do it for truth. It's saying, I'm not arguing with you to defeat you or overpower, but because I want to get to the truth, and two people arguing about it and pilpulling is the best method to achieve that truth. In the example, Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, the one school that had the more negativistic view towards human nature, and one had a more positivistic view towards human nature. and hence they disagreed on many, many topics related to their outlook on the nature of human nature, as opposed to Korach and Moses, who it was a struggle over power. There wasn't a desire to achieve the truth. Mishnah 21, Kamazake Sarabim, Ein Chet Ba Al Yadoi, Bakal Machate Sarabim, Ein Masikim Biadala Sos Chuva, Moshe Zaka Lizika Es Harabim, Skus Harabim Tulibai, Shnemar Sidkas Hashem, Ose Mishpatav Im Yisrael, Rovavim Ben Navut, Chatav Chetu Es Harabim, Chet Harabim Tulibai, Shnemar Al Chatois Yeravim Asher Chata Asher Hachet Es Yisrael. Whoever influenced the masses to become meritorious shall not be the cause of sin, but one who influences the masses to sin will not be given an opportunity to repent. Moses was meritorious and influenced the masses to be meritorious, so the merit of the masses was to his credit, as it is said, carrying out God's justice and his ordinances with Israel. Yeravim ben Navut sinned and caused the masses to sin, so that the sins of the masses is charged against them, as it is said, for the sins of Yeravim the wicked that he committed and that he caused Israel to commit. So, simple statement, if you influence the masses to become meritorious, you will not come to sin, and that merit will be like your merit. And if you cause the masses to sin, that sin will be like it's your sin. So, influence is important. We've discussed this in previous chapters, and now it's taking it to a further degree that the merit you cause could become like your merit, and it'll save you from sin. And a person who causes others to sin, not only will that sin become like his own sin, but he won't even have a chance to repent for his own sin. So be extremely careful in the influence that we exert on other people, and we should use whatever influence we have to try to push people to be meritorious and not degenerate. Mishnah 22. Kol mi sheyesh be'al shloisha devorim halu, hu metalmidei shel Avram Avinu, v'shloisha devorim acherim, hu metalmidei shel Bilam harasha, ayin toiva, ruach nemucha, v'nefesh fallow, talmidei shel Avram Avinu, ayin ra, v'ruach avoya, v'nefesh rechava, talmidei shel Bilam harasha, ma bein talmidei shel Avram Avinu, the talmidei shel Bilam harasha, talmidei shel Avram Avinu, oichlim ba'olam hazeh, v'noichlim ba'olam haba, shnemer hankel oiviyesh oitz roisav amale, avol talmidei shel Bilam harasha, yorshim gehenim, yordim libar shachas, shenemar vi'ata Elohim teridem, liver shachas anshe damim amira, lo yichatze yemehem ba'ani avtak ba. Whoever has the following traits is among the disciples of our forefather Abraham, and whoever has these negative traits is among the disciples of the wicked Balaam. Those who have a good eye, a humble spirit, and undemanding soul are the disciples of our forefather Abraham. A good eye, a humble spirit, and an understanding soul. Those who have an evil eye, an arrogant spirit, and a greedy soul are the disciples of the wicked Balaam. How are the disciples of our forefather different from the disciples of the wicked Balaam? The disciples of our forefather Abraham, the fruits for their good deeds in this world and inherit the world to come, as it is said, to cause those who love me to inherit an everlasting possession, the world to come, and I will fulfill the storehouses in this world. But the disciples of the wicked Balaam inherit Gehenna and descend into the well of destruction, as said, and you, our God, shall lower them into the well of destruction. Men of bloodshed and deceit shall not live out half their days, but as for me, I will trust in you. So have a good eye, a humble spirit, an undemanding soul. And the sages said that that will lead to reward in this world and in the next, and to not to have a greedy spirit and make sure I say this right, an evil eye, an arrogant spirit, and a greedy soul, that will lead to this destruction in this world and the next. Mishnah 23, Yehuda ben Beta Omer Havi al Kanemer V'Kal Kanesher Ratz Katzvi V'Gibor Ka'ari Lasos Rason Chalvicho Shabbat Shemayim. This one is written on many synagogues. It's a popular saying. Yehuda ben Tema said, "Be as bold as a leopard, light as an eagle, swift as a deer, and strong as a lion to carry out the will of your Father in heaven." I think like, Buddhist teachings or something, learn from the animals and their character on how to be a better person, how to serve God. In an extent, there's certain traits that a person needs to be able to serve God. Bold as a lion, light as an eagle, swift as a deer, and strong as a lion, for the purpose of carrying out the will of our Father in heaven. Mr. 24. Huhay Omer az panim legehenim boses panim legan Aden yehirot zayin melfaneka adonahinu elisenu shabani beis amigdash b'meira b'yambenu v'senko keni b'sor secha. He used to say, the brazen goes to Gehenna, but the shamefaced go to the Garden of Eden. May be your will, Hashem, our God, and the God of our forefathers, that the holy temple be rebuilt speedily in our days, and grant us our share in your Torah. Mr. 25. Hopefully we'll sing that one at the end. Mishnah 25. Huaya Omer ben Chamesh Shanim Lemikra, ben Eser Shanim Lemishnah, ben Shalois Esrei Lemitzvos, ben Chamesh Esrei the Gemara, ben Shimon Esrei Lechuppah, ben Esrim Lirdoif, ben Shloishim Lekoyak, ben Arborim Labina, ben Chamisha Le'etza, ben Shisha Lezikna, ben Shivim Lesheva, ben Shemoin Legevura, ben Kishim Leshuak, ben Meek Ilumes, V'over Abatamina Oilam. Yehuda ben Tama used to say, a 5-year-old begins scripture, a 10-year-old begins Mishnah, a 13-year-old is obligated to serve in the commandments, a 15-year-old begins to study Talmud, an 18-year-old goes off to the marriage canopy, a 20-year-old begins pursuit of a livelihood, a 30-year-old attains full strength, a 40-year-old attains understanding, a 50-year-old can confer counsel, a 60-year-old attains seniority, a 70-year-old attains a ripe old age, an 80-year-old shows strength, a 90-year-old becomes stooped over, a 100-year-old is if he were dead, passed away, and ceased from the world. Very interesting. Some of this is basic wisdom that has permeated Jewish society for the ages of chinuch and education. Mr. 26, Ben Bagbag Omer Hafikbo V'Hafikbo Dekulaba Ubad Hexi V'Sivable above Minila Tazrua Shein Laka Mida Toiva Hamenu Ben Hai Omer Lapum Sora Agra. Ben Bagbag says, delve into the Torah and continue to delve in it, for everything is in it. Look deeply in it, grow old and gray over it. Do not stir from it, for you can have no better position than it. Ben Hai says, the reward is in proportion to the exertion. And say the answers are in these books, in the wisdom literature. Delve into it. Look for it like gold, like there's treasure. And grow gray over it. Spend your whole lifetime studying the wisdom literature. Don't waste time with other things if you don't have to. And Ben Mahai says the reward is in proportion to the exertion. Awesome. That concludes chapter 5. Very great wisdom. Maybe I'll sing a quick song from that popular song. I don't think it's Chabad, whatever the origins of, but it's sang all over. They used to sing with the Chabad Rebbe, where he said, Yibim Heira B'Yameinu, Yabane Beis HaMikdash. Shibane Beis HaMikdash B'Yim Heira B'Yameinu B'Sein Kelkenu Sorasecha. May the holy temple be rebuilt speedily in our days and grant us our share in the Torah. That's what we're in it for. We want the temple to be rebuilt and to serve as priests in the temple and to have atonement to our sin. And we want a portion in God's Torah. And so this prayer is said every morning. And it's a nice tune, so let's chant it. Shibane Beis HaMikdash B'meira B'yameinu V'sein Kelkenu V'soirasecho Shibanu Beis Hamikdash Bimheira Biyameinu V'sein Kelkeinu V'soyrosekum Shibanu Beis Hamikdash Bimheira Biyameinu V'sein Kelkeinu V'soyrosekum Shibanu Beis Hamikdash Bimheira Biyameinu V'sein Kelkeinu V'soyrosekum. I was thinking last night, a favorite song. I actually had a dream with the Sklender Rebbe in it last night, and I chanted. I loved chanting with the Sklender Rebbe, and we used to sing the song from the Shemona Esrei, the Pharisaic ordained prayer service, the last words of the Modim prayer, if people are familiar with it. Hatov kilo kuli rachamecha v'amrakim kilo samat kasudeka ki me'olam kavinu lach. Hatov, the good, referring to God. Kilo kuli rachamecha, who is all forgiving, all merciful. V'amrakim, the merciful. Kilo samat kasudeka, that doesn't stop his kindness. Ki me'olam kavinu lach, that forever we hope towards you. Similar to the passage in Jeremiah that I'd sung also, the Sklender tune, Kazdei Hashem kilo samnu kilo kularachamav. This tune I used to love chanting, very powerful, and just, God, I'm reliant upon your mercy and your kindness. To you I hope. Hatoiv, hatoiv, hatoiv. Kiloi kuli rachamechu v'yamrachem kiloi samnu chasudechu ki me'olam ki vinila ki me'olam ki vinila hatoiv 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 kiloi kuli rachamechu v'yamrachem kiloi samnu chasudechu hatoiv 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 kiloi kuli rachamechu v'yamrachem kiloi samnu chasudechu ki me'olam ki vinila ki me'olam ki vinila. Okay, shalom everybody, blessings. Hope this wisdom penetrates our hearts, help us make us better people. God will have mercy and kindness upon us to fulfill these teachings. And there's a 6th chapter in Ethics of the Fathers. So God willing, tomorrow we'll finish up. Thank you.